Now, in this last video, we are going to tackle question 8 and question 9. It says Tom and Sam are on opposite sides of a tower that is 160 meters tall. They measure the angle of elevation of the top of the tower as 40 and 55 respectively. Now, a lot of times you get confused with this, but you've got to keep in mind if we've got eyesight up here, okay, that 40 is that same thing, that 55 and that 55 moves down here. So that's why I've got 40 here and 55 here. It's the alternate interior angle relationship. Now, it says find the distance between Tom and Sam. Now, we've got a problem. We cannot find this entire distance because we do not have a right triangle. But we do have two smaller right triangles, this side and this side. So if I can find this distance, which I am going to call A, and I can find this distance, which I am going to call B, then I can add them up. So that's the strategy that you have to do with this types of problems. So it's not just one big problem, it's separate problems that you put together at the end. So first, let's concentrate on finding A. We have 40, we have an opposite and an adjacent. We do not have the hypotenuse here. Therefore, cosine and sine do not work, but tangent does. So I have tangent 40 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. Now, when I cross multiply, A goes up here, and then I have to divide by tangent 40. So it's going to be A equals 160 divided by tangent 40 degrees. So if I do that on the calculator, 160 divided by tangent 40 degrees, I get A is approximately 190.7 meters. Now I'm going to do the same process for Sam. Again, I do not have a hypotenuse, so I am forced to use tangent. Now tangent 55 degrees equals opposite over adjacent, which is B. Again, cross multiply, B comes up here, tangent divides. So B equals 160 divided by tan 55 degrees. So B is approximately 160 divided by tangent 55. So that is approximately 112.0 meters. Now remember, the original question says find the distance between Tom and Sam. So now we can simply add these up. And we can say we are going to add those two numbers together. And we are going to say they are about 302.7 meters apart. So you have to kind of slow down, get that picture drawn correctly in order to tackle a problem like number 8. Now, moving on to question number 9. Now this picture was a little bit more difficult to draw. So it says, from a plane flying due east at 265 meters above sea level, the angles of depression of two ships sailing due east measure 35 and 25. Now I have these color coded for you. The first time it sees ship 1, it says angle of depression, it would be from the line of sight to this line. So that and that's alternate interior, so that can be 35, but I need 35 down here. And then the second plane, so I've color coded this one here. This is 25, so this is 25. Notice it's a smaller angle, it's further out. Now it says how far apart are the ships? Now again, this one here is a little bit trickier because I have two nested triangles. So I need you to kind of look at this. I can find this part, which if I call that X, I can find that part. But if I find the distance of ship 2, it would be that entire part, which I can call that Y. Now the only way that I'm going to figure out how far apart they are, if I find this x and I find this y, I can subtract it to find out how far apart they are. So again, where is the right angle? The right angle is right here, but we actually do have two triangles. Now again, in this problem, we do not have a hypotenuse listed. So we are not going to use cosine or sine. We will use tangent. So first let's find x. We have opposite over adjacent. So that is going to give me tangent 35 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. If I cross multiply and then divide by that, I get x equals 265 divided by tangent 35 degrees. So 265 divided by tangent 35, and I get x is approximately 378.5. And here we are still in meters. Now, that's just x. Now we're going to find y. So now we're dealing with this bigger triangle, this whole big thing here. So we now say tangent 25 opposite 265, this time over y. We can't just do this piece because this is the whole bottom of this right triangle. Cross multiply, divide by 10, y equals 265 divided by tangent 25, 265 divided by tangent 25 on the calculator gives us, granted it's a bigger number as it should be, 568.3 meters. Now, to answer the question, how far apart are the ships, we now subtract those two numbers. And we are going to get approximately 189.8. So I'm going to say the ships are 189.8 meters apart. And then this concludes this set of notes.